Hello my friends, welcome back. Roxy's weekly challenge is what we're about today, week 46 I believe. I was really inspired. So this latest Roxy's weekly challenge, Rachel made a whole variety of wraparound pockets. I think she made 12 different variations, and as I watched the video I made along with her so that I could kind of seat the ideas into my brain, because the previous video I did not make along with her, and most of the ideas, like, just vanished with the very next thought. Now, out of that process of making along with Rachel, I was inspired to do a variation, or it's not even a variation, it's kind of like a springboard, the next step, if you like. And that's what I'm going to do with you today. So I'm not going to go over what Rachel made. I'm going to make my idea that sprang from her video. So do go along and watch her video. I'll link it in the description box below for 12 really cool ideas on making wraparound pockets / tucks, because they could be either. Yes. Okay, so I have in front of me 3 different book pages. I like, for this particular project that I'm going to do, to use 3 different book pages. And I am going to fold in half. Now, if you are using a thin book page, you might want to fold the top down, just as an extra reinforcement. I am not. We will still have reinforcement, but in a different way. So we're going to fold in half each of the 3 pages. I'm a little distracted at the moment because the neighbour's boy is sounding quite loud, and I'm wondering whether he's come on this side of the fence to collect his ball, which often makes its way to this side of the fence. It just seemed very loud and very close, so I suspect that might be the case. So easy as fold them in half. Can't get easier than that, can it? Well, we're not stopping there. We have a few other bits and pieces to do. So this page and this page are from late 1800s, early 1900s, as far as I can research. This one is a modern book, and this one's a gardening book. Okay, little bit of measurement to do here, guys. Not heaps, but just a little bit. Oh, excuse me. And I want to measure in from each end 3 inches. Now you can go whatever measurement you like. You could go 2, 2.5, 4, like completely up to you. It will depend on the width of your page, and you need to make the distance according to the narrowest, so which I think is that one. Yeah, so this is the narrowest, so it needs to be within this distance, and that will hopefully make sense as we get there. So I'm going to measure 3 inches from that side, 3 inches from this side. That's just my chosen measurement. That seems to work really well. And I'm going to fold it down on that point, kind of trying to get it at a right angle as much as possible. And same on this side. Okay, now if it's super thin paper, you might want to glue the whole bit down. This is not. This is quite sturdy paper, so I'm just going to trim off the excess and glue that down. And to glue it down, I'm just using tacky glue. You could absolutely use glue stick, and normally I actually do, but right, and this side. I haven't actually told you what I'm making, have I? Apart from it's a wraparound. So it's a wraparound, and it is tuck spots, but also could be pockets, and I'll go into more of that later. So you basically should have pretty even if you've folded it nicely. there. Right, so that's that one. Let's grab the next one, and we're going to do the same thing. Whoops. Put my scissors away for a moment, out of my way. So how's your week going, my friends? Are you having a good week? A good creative week? My week has just begun. It's only Monday as I'm recording this, so it's early in the week. But I did get a little irate earlier. I was so frustrated. I had an Etsy order to send to America, and it's letter-sized item, which costs around $5 to send as a letter item, but I've had them go missing, and I've had to refund the cost to the purchaser of the item and the postage, which is a lot of money when you add it all together. And so I was out the cost of the postage for sending the items that I sent, plus all the money that I then had to refund to the person. So yeah, it was, I didn't want to do that again. So I was investigating other options of what I could do. I could send it as a tracked parcel for $33, even though it's only letter size. And I was like, $33 to send a letter-sized envelope. And the purchaser hadn't paid that because I hadn't put that on the listing. But it's only a $30 purchase. Who would pay more than the item to have it sent to you? Unless it was like really rare and precious, in which case it's not going to really be more than the postage, is it? I mean, the postage isn't going to be more than the item in that case. So I was like, well, there's a registered post option, which is $23. I thought, okay, it doesn't track it, but it does give a receipt of having sent it and of its arrival. And I thought, well, that gives it a little more importance, doesn't it? You know, perhaps they'll treat it a bit better, and it's got a higher chance of making it. So I went down to the post office. I'm just doing the same action, so I've done the same thing with that, and now I'm going to do it with this one. To talk over options, because I thought, well, is there something I'm missing? Is there a cheaper option than $23 that's more than $5 that will get me some sort of assurance that the envelope will get where it needs to go? And she says, yeah, we can courier it. $71. $71 to courier an envelope. I was like, no. I'm looking for a more affordable option for a letter-sized envelope. Good grief, people. It's not rocket science. Like, track a regular-sized envelope. They don't have that option here in New Zealand. You cannot track a letter anywhere, not even within New Zealand, unless you courier it. And I was like, and so I asked about the registered, because I thought, well, I was prepared to pay a bit extra out of my own pocket and send it as a registered letter. $23 option. Oh, no, sorry, we don't do that here. And I was like, but it says on the website that you can get that at the post office. And they says, oh, well, you've got to stock a lot of this and that, and so we just don't do it. I was like, flaming heck, people. Like, you're not providing a full service, are you? So that was not an option. I couldn't pay that. So I was just so frustrated. And the owner of the post office chimed in, because I was dealing with a lady there, and he was like, oh, well, it costs extra to track, you know. And it's like, yes, I appreciate that. I'm not saying I want to send a letter for $5 tracked. No, I would pay more, but surely there should be an option that's lower than $33 as a parcel, because it's not a parcel. He didn't really respond to that, but you know, he just thought I was wanting to send it tracked for $5. And no, I know it doesn't work like that. You pay more for tracking, but there's not that option. They simply don't have it. So I was frustrated. I was just really annoyed. So I sent it as a letter with the, like, if this goes wrong, I'm going to have to refund the whole lot again. So frustrated. Have you picked up? I'm slightly frustrated. So anyway, I sent it off, and then I came home and I got on the New Zealand Post website and sent in my complaint that there should be a tracked letter option that is more affordable than $33 or $71, and that is available wherever you are in the country. Like, the fact that I can't send even a registered letter from my local post office is not really good enough, I think. So anyway, I was limited to 1,000 characters. So I used all my 1,000 characters to write my message, and let's see what doesn't come of it, because I don't expect much. Oh, postage is just, it's terrible nowadays, isn't it? Really just, that's all I can say. Anyway, that's my moan for the day. The woes of postage. And it's just like, you know, you're trying to do something good, you're using the service, but they don't make it easy. They're actually putting people off from using post because of the pricing. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's move on to our project and to something that's a bit happier. Right, I am going to round these, so this is the fold here. So we're going to round the top and bottom of the smallest page. Oh, did that just break? I think that just broke. Oh no. Maybe it's because I was so annoyed. Yeah, it's broken. Oh, I wonder if it will affect its use or not. Anyway, let's try it. Does it matter? Do I need to... Can I work it? I think I can work it without, actually. Oh, that's making me really sad. I wonder how that broke. It hasn't dropped or anything, not that I'm aware of. Anyway, it seems to work perfectly fine. So if you're not sure which order you're going to put them in, then round the corner on all three of the folded corner. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do that because I haven't kind of worked it out yet. And may as well. Yeah, see, that one went wrong. That last one I did. So I think as long as I rest it against this one, we're okay. Can I get that? We haven't got our point now. Oh, am I risking? Yeah, I'm just going to leave it. Excuse me, Mr. Frog has come to visit. Okay, so you've rounded your corners. Now, I do prefer to ink around all of these. So bear with me while I do a bit of inking. Because I'm using all book page, you kind of want to make it obvious where one starts and the next one finishes. Now, actually, before I do that though, I need to make sure they're all the same width. So let's do that first. Otherwise, I'm inking something that's going to come off. So this is my narrowest one. So I want to make sure the others are the same width. So I'm just going to line them up. Put my ruler along the edge of that smallest one. And trim off. So they're fairly similar. You could have them different widths if you want. I just like the look of them all being the same. Sorry, Mr. Froggy doesn't want to go away. So let's go back. I know I started inking the other one, but it doesn't matter because we want to do all of them anyway. Now the reason for doing the measurement for the fold is so that the angle of the pages are all the same, so that they all, you know, a nice finish. You may need to trim the height of your pages as well. I haven't checked that, so we might have to do a bit of trimming down. Now your smallest one, you need to ink all the way around on all sides. But on the other two, you don't need to do quite as much inking. So we'll get this one done and then we'll look at the others. Hopefully you can follow along what I'm doing here with my big rant there I was having about postage rates. But honestly, shouldn't there be a service in between a parcel, a tracked parcel, and just an ordinary letter that is actually tracked and not just a registered? Because registered, $23 is still not tracked. Anyway, shake it off, girl. Shake it off. Okay, so our next one, the next biggest one. So you want to do the top, the angle. And I do like to do this side here. But you don't need to do the bottom. And you only need to do like maximum halfway down. Not even that, but I'm going to do halfway down the folded edge. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. This one is a slightly shiny page. It's actually from a medical textbook, an old one. It's like called The Doctor at Home or something. It's like a home medical book. So it's got some not so nice things in it. Hubby bought it for me. So this is going to tuck inside there, and so you'll begin to see why we didn't need to ink the whole length or the bottom. But I do want to ink this side so that if they end up sticking out a little bit, that we've got an inked edge, not a white edge, so to speak. So we're going to do the same thing on this one. So the top, the angle, and then down the short side. And then just for safety's sake, halfway down the long folded side. Did I do both sides on that one? Yes, I did. I've really distracted myself with my whinging and kind of losing track of what I've done and what I haven't done. So if you're not an inker, don't ink. It's perfectly fine. You will survive. It will survive. Won't be the end of the world. You could do this also with digital or whatever. You don't need to do it with book page. But you may know I have a few book pages. So an opportunity to use book pages is absolutely brilliant in my book. Okay, now which one? I think that's actually the biggest one there. So going to stack the biggest one at the top. May seem counterintuitive. You'd think that you put the biggest one at the bottom, but we're not. We're putting it at the top, and then the smallest one at the bottom, if I can slide it in there. So we've got this edge reinforced. Like I said, if it's really thin paper, you might want to fold the top down to reinforce the top before you do anything else. Before you even do this fold, you might want to fold down the top. Up to you. And so this is going to go on a page. I've chosen out this digital, which is one of mine, what's it called? Antique music covers, vintage music, something like that. It's in my shop. Comes in A4 and US letter size, so make sure you choose which one you purchase according to what paper you typically use. So that's going to wrap around the page like so. So your front one, your outside one, is going to be right at the bottom, and you can take the back one right to the top, or you can have it down a bit. Again, options. And where that rounded corner is, we're going to just bring it out from the edge, and it's going to be a tab down the side of the page. Now, if you don't want to extend past that, if you think, well, that's not going to be within the cover of my journal, then trim a bit off your page and then still have it as a tab. Understand? Hopefully I've made that sense. So this is a typical width of my page, but if I didn't want it to stick out past the page, then just take a little strip off, because you're not losing anything because you're covering it up anyway. And then when you have your tab sticking out the side, you're still within the bounds of your normal page width. Okay, so we're going to sit it there. Now I did a prototype and I did a little error on my one, and I'm going to take this one not quite to the top. So I'm going to start with the underneath one first, so the one at the top, line it up, leaving my little tab poking out there. So we want to glue it. I want to make sure it's straight as possible. I want to glue it at the bottom and down this side. Oops, not on my desk. So on my other one, I glued down this side as well, and then I realized it was supposed to be a tuck. But I have variations on this as well, so stay tuned for that. So we're going to lay that down, and then we're going to open it up and do the same on this side. So we've got glue already down there. Oops. Might put a bit under that edge, I think. Hold it in place. So just glue along this edge now, because we've already got glue on the tab. Okay. So far, you're with me? Now you could, of course, just do one of these. Put it at the bottom and you've got a tuck on both sides. So that's one way you could do it. Or you could do two. We're doing three, but you could just do two and stack them like this if you wanted to just do two. Now I'm just going to put this one on again and make sure that I've got my spacing kind of even. That's what I'm going for. So this one needs to go down just a little bit, I think. Come on, it doesn't want to slide. Doesn't matter too much. I'm terrible at being very persnickety about things like that. That's looking good to me. So I'll sit that one there, do the same thing. Going to glue down this edge and along the bottom. And flip it over. Same on this. So just along the bottom on this side. And then our final one, our third one, so you could stop at two and have it start at the bottom and then your second one and space them out however you like. But why stop at two when you can have three? Okay, so again, the same thing. Down the tab. Oops, very wobbly line there. And across the bottom. And last one. Whoops, try and keep on camera, dear. Okay. And we have 3 tucks on each side, and I think they look really cool with the different book pages. I've even got the text going in different directions, so this one reads that way, this one reads that way, this one reads that way. I think that just adds some interest. Okay, I have a wee sip of my cup of tea. Okay, so just using a folded bit of paper here, we have a tuck in here, so a nice big journal card. Have a tuck in here, another nice big journal card or tag, and then our front tuck there, and the same on both sides. Now you can vary this, as I mentioned before. You can make this back one a pocket, and so have something go in this way, then have this one as a tuck, and then have this front one as a pocket. So just glue it on this edge on the front one, glue that edge on the back one, and then leave this middle one open as a tuck. Or you could have tuck, pocket, tuck, or tuck, tuck, pocket, or pocket, pocket, tuck. You could mix and match. You could really have some fun and just decide, okay, this one I want to have as a, let's do that as a pocket, and then this one, let's do that as a tuck, and let's do this one as a tuck, or let's do this one as a pocket. Like options, you've got so many options on how you could customize it. You could do 1, you could do 2, you could do 3. You can have any combination of pockets and tucks within that configuration. You could also, if you really wanted to, you could add a 4th little pocket down here, just like a little rectangle pocket or a wee corner pocket. You really could go to town. Now, obviously we have quite a few layers of paper, so it is going to bulk your journal, especially once you've got ephemera in each of those 6 places that we have. So 3 on each side, so that makes 6. You're going to have 6 bits of ephemera tucked in there. For me, that doesn't matter. I will just account for that in my journal construction. I do like a chunky, well-rounded journal, so for me, a little extra chunk is just a bit of extra fun. But do bear that in mind that, you know, if that's not your thing, if you prefer to keep it more streamlined, this might not be the project for you. You might want to stick with just the one, or you might want to use all 3 layers of very thin paper and then just fold it to reinforce it, which will still be thinner than some book pages. Like this one's quite a sturdy, thick paper, this front one. And then we have this added feature of just the tab edge to the page. So if I close it and turn it over, you can see that it sticks out there, but we also have that it's layered, so you get layers to the tabbed edge. Toot my own horn, I just think it's really cool. It's just something a bit different. You know, we've done layered things before, we've done tabbed things before, we've done combinations, tucks and pockets, but I just feel this is just slightly different again. So that is that idea. How are we going on time? We're doing pretty well. I'm trying to decide whether I do this again so that you get it in your brain, like I had to get it in my brain. Here's my prototype. So that's there. So I used a different page. This back page is very thin. It's from an encyclopedia. So I didn't have the gardening page in this one. So that's my prototype. Just super fun. And it's a shorter page as well, just to show you how that turns out. And this is the one that I accidentally glued, this back one, into a pocket, which is when I realized that you could have it as a pocket or a tuck. So that's a pocket there in that back one, and then the other 2 are tucks. Now the tucks, of course, only go down to the bottom of where you've glued each section, which gives some separation. Maybe I need, let's grab some, these are just glue pages off my glue book. Let's just show you. Sorry, my light is flickering a little bit. Hopefully that's not annoying you. So this one goes down about there. This one goes a little lower there. And then of course this one goes all the way to the bottom, minus the glue line where it's glued. So you kind of get this stacked feel. So if you made a big one up to the top there, imagine it goes all the way to the bottom. This one could go up to there, and then this one could, oh, it's a bit big. Hold it down a little bit. You know, be in there. So you've got the ephemera layered as well. Hard to see with all book page, but hopefully you get a sense of what I'm kind of trying to illustrate. Okay, I did have one other idea that was a bit different. So maybe we should do that. We've got time. And I need to remember how I did it. So I'm going to use this book page. This is another old book from, as near as I can tell, about 1904, 1905. It took some workings to get even that close to a date, and I'm not positive of the date, but going by the address of the publisher, and I found in Wikipedia the history of where they were at, what address they held at certain dates, and so the date I believe would put this in the very early 1900s, but I could not even find an image of this book online. And the title, I could find the title, but I couldn't find anything else out about the book. It's quite interesting actually. I've just tidied up that edge. Okay, so I'm going to fold in this edge, so the long ways, and the opposite edge, long ways. Okay, I'm going to grab one of my glue pages here that I was just using as a demonstration, and my glue stick. I'm going to glue both of those down. Now this could be a tuck, but I've also got another idea for it as well, that yes, it is a wraparound tuck, but not on a page. Could be on a page, but I think it's also a fun opportunity to not use it on a page, but use it on a piece of ephemera. Hopefully I'll make that a bit clearer as we progress. So we have a long narrow piece, looks like a tag, doesn't it? You know, clip the top and you've got a good tag base, but that's not what we're making. Just to give you an idea, this is the book it came out of. It's got some beautiful illustrations in it. So the pages are a little over 7 inches by 4 3/4 inches, just to give you an idea of the size I'm using. Oh, squeaky chair. And I think I need another sip of my tea. Okay, now I need something to put this on, like a journaling card. I don't think I've got a journaling card base. Oh, hang on, hold the fort. I have a bit of a masterboard here. We can quickly whip that into a journaling card sort of size that we would like. I believe this is a leftover bit from one of the monthly masterboard challenges. Let's go there and just tidy up this top edge a little bit as well. And this outside edge is looking a little uneven as well. There we go. There's our base. It does need backing, so let's might as well do that as well. So I'm going to use my 2 glue method. So we're going to make a wraparound tuck on a journal card. I thought that's just a little bit of something different, isn't it? Again, springboarding from the ideas that Rachel presented and adding my own spin and just being creative. That's what it's about, isn't it? Being creative. We like to create. Doesn't it give you a buzz when you come up with something that's just a little bit different, a little bit new to you? Not necessarily new to everybody, but new to you. And that you didn't see somebody else do, that just, you know, as you were playing around, it came to you and you kind of turned it this way, turned it that way, did a cut, did a fold, spin it round. You know, it's just so much fun. It gives you, well, it gives me a real buzz when I discover something and go, oh, well, I tried that and I think it's cool. I love that feeling, that creative process when it just kind of, something works, something comes together. Okay, so let's trim this out now. Do I want round the corners? I think I possibly do actually. It's curling up on me a bit because the glue's wet. Do I dare round the corners when the glue is wet is the other thing. Right, with my poor little punch. That seems to be okay with the glue. This is an aesthetic thing, so you totally don't need to round the corners. You could clip them, which is a very Rachel-esque thing to do. She likes to clip her corners. And I do that occasionally, but overall I do prefer the rounded. Personal preference. Okay, so we want this to be no longer than our journal card. So let's take my wee guillotine, and this text is not straight. I don't know whether you noticed, but it is not straight. I noticed that on my first one that I made. So I want to go about there. I want it shorter than the journal card. Okay, and we're going to fold this now in half, lengthways. And again, I want to round all of the corners on this. There we go, did those nicely. So we have this, let's ink around it, because as you know, I'm an inker. And it just helps visually, I think. So I did talk in, I think it was yesterday's video, about I left one of my lights off, and then partway through I switched it back on. So I've gone back to having it on. So shadows, we're just going to have to live with the shadows. I keep looking for ways to eliminate them or minimize them. And sometimes what I try ends up worse. And what I tried with leaving the light off just meant I felt like I was not seeing properly, like I didn't have enough light to work in. So I've just gone back to how I was doing it, for better or worse, until I try the next thing. Right, this is little curly. Let's try and straighten that out a little bit. Just the glue stick that does that, and when it's wet. So putting it under my mat here will take care of that. So I'm going to I don't want to put it all the way in, so I want to leave a tab out the side. Oops. Perhaps if I turn it up this way and line it up on my mat, I might have some chance of getting it straight. So I'm going to leave it sticking out quite a little bit. Probably not quite that much though. So about 1.5 centimeters, whatever that is in inches. Okay, so flip it out, and I'm just going to glue the top and the bottom. That's all the glue that's going to happen. So before that glue dries, flip it open and get the other side. Of course, further decorate this up. These pockets that we just did, I would leave these as they are and just put something on the front one, some sort of focal image, or layer up some nice elements. But on this one you could totally decorate it, just depends what you want to do. I would leave some book text personally, just to show that it is actually book page. But it's, you know, personal preference, whatever you want to do. So that's all nicely glued on. And we now have, let's trim this down so it actually would fit in there. Whoops. Don't turn the guillotine, turn your paper. I'm just going to take a random stab at how much I need to take off. Yep, that works well. So then we've got a journal card with journaling space, and we also have a tuck on the side, or a pocket, whatever you want to call it, where you can put another smaller something, maybe a wee tag, you know, put the tag up that way on both sides. So just extending the writing space within the writing space. Or maybe it's like right here and tuck a photo, or your plane ticket, or your train ticket, or whatever. You know, options. It's about options, isn't it? So that's that idea that I had. Just a fun little side piece. This one's actually even narrower. So I could put it on like there. Yeah, just fun pieces. Just trying to do things a little bit differently, because that's how we roll. We like to try and come up with new and exciting ways of doing things, don't we? So I think I'm going to leave it there for today. So we've got our triple layer wraparound tucks / pockets, depending how you want to glue them. That's all in the gluing, whether they are pockets or tucks. And you can have a combo whichever way you like. And then just this little idea of the wee tab pockets, tucks. I think technically probably pockets. I don't know. Call them whatever you wish, whatever makes you happy. On a journal card, which would then go in, maybe it would go on this side, you know, that would fit in one of those tucks. Look at that. I wouldn't put that in there though, because it's like that's going to be another 2 layers by the time we put there. So it will be like 1, 2, 3, 5 layers. So I wouldn't add that to the 6 layers we've got going on there, or 7 if you count the actual journal page. But just as an idea, it is possible. Oh, so fun. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed coming along while I played around with these ideas. I hope they inspired you. Maybe you can take these ideas and create something, do your own springboard into something new and exciting, or make what I made, or go along and watch Rachel's video and make what she made. Options, people, you've got so many options and it's really exciting. I think that's one of the most exciting things about junk journaling, is playing and discovering and coming up with new to you ideas that just make your heart happy. Okay guys, take care. I will be back again tomorrow with another video. I hope I'll see you then. Take care, my friends. Bye for now.